Well, all right, y'all. All across the USC, Compton, Watts, Bay to LA, Pomona, California, from valley to valley, we represent that killer Cali. So if you keeping it real on your side of your town, you tune in to Gangsta Chronicles.
Gangsta Chronicles, we gon' tell you how it goes.
If I lie, my nose will grow like Pinocchio. We gon' tell you the truth and nothing but the truth.
Gangsta Chronicles, this is not your average show.
You're now tuned into the real MC8, Big James, and Big Steel.
This is strictly from the streets.
Hello.
We represent the James.
And the publishing side of the business is the most valuable side. And I've seen guys turn over their stuff in perpetuity for $25,000, for $30,000, because it's usually all in cash. And another trick that they'll do too is I saw my publishing company do this. They'll put the check on the third or fourth page of the contract, you know, with a paper clip in there. So, you know, you get a young dude in there that's 19, 20 years old. He's looking at it. He see that check for $25,000. Oh, man, we ain't got to go through all this. I trust y'all. And he signed the shit because he wants that check. Now, turn around 6 months later after he done went and bought a car, after he done bought some clothes and a chain, and that money is gone.
How about a motherfucker just steal your publishing straight up? My first contract, when I first started, I signed a contract with Unknown, with Techno Hop Records, okay? And our first deal was through Orpheus Capital, okay? Charles Huggins had a label called Orpheus. They had a distribution deal with Capital, okay? Me as a young motherfucker coming from the hoods in Compton, I just wanted to rap. I ain't know shit about contracts and publishing and none of that. So, Unknown knowing, sign the motherfucker to you, then you go get the deal with the label. So that's what we basically did. I signed a deal with Unknown's company called Big Beat Records, okay, with Big Beat Productions. That's what happened.
That's where Mike Karen came from.
Okay, and what he did is after I signed the recording contract, he stapled a publishing contract on the back of it and added it as an exhibit. So,
oh, Lord.
He just straight
That's
up
what we talked about, Stan.
He just straight up took my publishing.
Yeah, I know, Norm.
I ain't no shit. So all the records, my first CMW records, all that shit, it never had my names on it because it was his publishing company. Because he just, and not until I met John Smith, which was I able to go back, because he had got an $80,000 publishing deal through MCA, and a nigga gave me $2,500. But I've written every fucking song I've ever done. I've never had a ghost writer, never. I've always written all my music. But for the first 3 albums of my career, I received no publishing because he took it all. Just took it.
My goodness.
The beast I went through,
hey,
just a young dude coming from gang banging and thought that rap was my way out of the hood. You get me? So I didn't know shit. I just wanted to rap. You get me? Fuck it. Rap is gonna take me from here. I was 17 years old and a motherfucker knew that. So he just took my shit. Like, fuck it. So that's the nature of the beasts of motherfuckers like that you had to deal with. And I didn't learn till 3 albums later that I was supposed to be getting paid for all them songs that I had wrote.
Well, it's amazing. James, you've never been on the artist side of things, but I know you've been around everything that you've been around. And Norm, your history, Norm has a deep history in everything, but I shared something with Norm the other day that I have to share with you, 8 and James, about what 8 just said. Let me tell you how they get you. Just say James signs a contract for $300,000 as an artist, right? Okay. They being, let's just say it's Universal. They generate the contract to the management of the artist, right? The artist usually has only had one meeting, if anything, with the label to say, hello, how you doing? And then they're ushered out because the manager and the attorneys don't want you involved as the artist. Okay, so now here we go. Here comes the contract, which is about 50 to 60 pages. All right, usually. Okay, so now they give you 3 contracts. Now you got to sign multiple signatures, right? A beginning artist, man, they just sign it. They sign it. So what the record company does, they send you a legitimate contract, right? But when it gets to the manager and the attorney, if those two are in cahoots, what I've seen done numerous times, please listen, they take the contract from the major label, they photocopy the top, and they put carbon copies of papers to blank out the details of the original contract. So now you only have a heading of a contract, and now they fill in what they want. You feel me? Okay. So now your manager and the attorney that's working with the manager tells you, the artist, you got 200,000 coming, when in essence you had 300. So what happens, now you're signing. They got the original contract, that's the good contract from Universal, but it's buried in the signing. So now the artist signs everything. They turn in the original contract to the record company. They send out the 300,000, but the management and the lawyer only send you 200,000. So everybody made 100,000 off of you, and you didn't even know what you had. And tell me an artist that knows what's in his contract. I'll wait.
I'm gonna tell you. And up until I think it was 5 years ago, that's why it started becoming commonplace for the law that the artist everybody's contract had to be the same. If you went back and did an audit, and if it was anything else, if it was anything like weird in that contract that wasn't the same thing as the artist had, the contract is automatically voided. And he was free to go. And you pretty much don't open yourself up to a lawsuit. And, you know, going back to the music business, Stan, you know, you were in at a time where it's a lot better right now because a lot of more information is out there. But you were in a time, man, where a lot of black artists was really getting screwed over.
Whew. Lord have mercy.
Hey, let me ask this. Why hasn't nobody got hurt behind this shit? You fucking with my money. They know they crooks. Man, that's why I'm glad I ain't no goddamn rapper.
That's when they start banning us from the labels. That's when they start putting security in the lobbies and telling you, like, Stan, you can't come up here no more. And because they started knowing when motherfuckers start coming up in there, breaking their motherfucking shit, kicking in doors and threatening the A&Rs and people like that. That's when they started banning people like us from getting into the lobbies and shit, because they started fearing, because we started wising up. We started being able to understand what contracts and splits and publishing was and how much royalties we were getting. And basically we was getting fucked. We giving you all this material and all this money, you taking it out, selling it for $10.59, making 10, 20, 30 million. And then you telling me I'm still in the fucking red. The shit was unbelievable. So that's when they started going, okay, I need to hire off-duty cops and put them in my lobbies, because I know when 8 of them walk up in here, it's going to be a gang of mess, because he just sold 2 million records. 20, 30 million just hit the table, but we finna tell him he's still in the red for fucking 100 and something thousand or 300,000. So you ain't getting no royalty check. But
I'll tell you another thing too that's fucked up about that, James. Like, I'm gonna tell you how the record business go, right? Usually when you break it down in layman's terms, an artist is only getting $1 a record, right? What does it stand? 65 cents to $1 a record or some shit like that, right?
That I
Yep.
wasn't getting no 60-something cent. I probably was getting about 50-something cents a record.
All right, let
Listen
me
to
tell you
this.
this. Hold on, let me get this off real quick.
Go ahead.
They are taking all, when you recoup your money, James, let's say they gave $875,000, and you figure they getting anywhere from $6.50 to $8 a record in at that time, right? Because you got physical releases, you got the vinyl, the tapes, and the CDs and shit, right? What happened is 8 is getting recouped off this little 50 cent. They making that extra $6, $6.50. That don't count for 8. No, you ain't accumulated enough money yet because he's recouping off the 50 cent that he's getting a record.
I'm not recouping off the whole record. I'm only recouping off of those fucking 8, 9 points they giving me.
Exactly.
The point is only worth 7 cents. So if I'm only getting seven points a record, I'm only making 49 fucking cents a record. Because you got to remember again, 1 point was 7 cents. So fuck it. If they giving me 8, 9 points a record, that's my cents. Okay. So I'm getting 50 cents a record. So they charging me that. So when they fucking give me that budget of 175, I gotta pay that back out of that 50 cents I'm getting. Okay. When they done spent 300,000 on my 2 videos, I gotta pay that back out of my 50 cents. Not out of the $10 that the record done sold for. I gotta pay all that back out of my fucking 50 cents. Okay. I wrote the record. I produced the record. I rapped the record. But because their label, they get to own almost 90% of my record, 95%. They get to own it. Unless you come in like smart motherfuckers and was like, fuck that, I'm owning my masters. You get me? Keep your bread up front or give me 50,000 and I'll make sure whatever. But the key was to own your masters. But if you was just a starving nigga, like I said, James, we come from Compton. 70s and 80s babies, you get me? So life in the hood wasn't that lucrative for motherfuckers. So a nigga like me who wasn't good in the dope game, a little nigga selling crack or whatever, but I wasn't the nigga, you get me? I'm 5, 6 niggas on the block trying to hustle to the same car. My way of, okay, rap was cracking. Toddy T and them was cracking. Run DMC, Easy. Everybody was cracking. So that's my way. I got tales of the hood. You get me? But I'm an uneducated nigga when it come to motherfucking music. You get me? And I'm an uneducated motherfucker when it come to the business of contracts and all that. I've been banging for the last 4 or 5 years. I don't know nothing about it. All I know is I could talk shit about the streets of Compton and these motherfuckers want to sell it. Because from here to Timbuktu, niggas want to hear about the niggas in the khaki suits and the fucking Raiders hats and the rags and shit. So that's when the executive come in and go, ooh, this motherfucker don't know nothing. Here, motherfucker, here go a mic. Here go studio time. Here go a chain. Here go a little money for your pocket. Now spit all them tales about the hood. We gonna go sell that shit for $10. Okay, but you not knowing, we're only giving you 50 cent a record. All that work you just put in, we only giving you 50 cent. Okay, so motherfuckers sell 2 million records, make 20, 30 million. But they gonna go, motherfucker, we sent you on tour. We sent you on promo tour. We bought you lunch. We shot 2 videos. We put posters up and down Hollywood Boulevard. Motherfucker, you was on Yo MTV Raps or this or that, blah, blah, blah. We charging you back for all that shit out of your 50 cents.
Ooh, H, you just laid it out, what goes on every day. And I hope every young artist just listen to every word that you just said, because it is absolutely the gospel in this music business. You are charged if you pass gas in their office. They will get you on anything and everything.
They gonna charge you $250 for the cleaning fee if you pass gas.
Thank you. Thank you. So it's a situation where, please, you young artists, please understand. And James, like you said, how come nobody's been hurt? Oh, there's been kidnappings. There's been ass whoopings.
Definitely.
It just ain't been publicized to the normal people. That's why A&R directors who were getting whipped up on the West Coast, they weren't doing that in New York, but they were tapping your ass on that West Coast. And so
I
these
need to
A&R
start a
directors,
business. I need to start a business.
I know.
I need to start.
It's amazing.
Motherfuckers, 'cause they grown. That's rape.
I didn't start kidnapping me too much.
Man, they need some sharks out there. Make them stop that shit, because that's fucked up.
Yeah, that's what they did. So what happened was the A&R directors got panicked, because you must understand most of the A&R directors that make the decisions are white guys. So they don't know how to move like that. So they do one or two things, Norm. They hire somebody from the street that's got connections, and then they lay up under them and feel that they're protected. But they don't know. Exactly. They don't know that these dudes ain't gonna protect them from other people. They gonna step back when some other people come and let that dog crap be beat out of them.
And Stan, I could say, you've been dealing with the music business from back in the Motown days, from back in the early. There is no really difference in what labels have always done, or especially us as Black artists. They have been doing this since the beginning of time, as far as music and taking control of people's music and paying them pennies on the dollar of their hard-earned work. So it hasn't changed one bit. I mean, it's just like we say with politics sometimes, we get the change in the presidents every 4 years or every 8 years or whatever, and people hope and hope and hope. But just like with the music business, nothing has really changed, and nothing has really changed for us artists. That's why you got to learn how to take control of your own destiny with the music business. You feel me? That's why you got a lot of independency going on now, and dudes just, hey, I'm gonna put my own record out, and I'm gonna just roll the dice there, because if I'm gonna get fucked for millions, then I might as well roll the dice myself and take the chance on myself.
Finally get a chance to let the